Yeah. Okay, now that I have a microphone, we'll try that again, shall we? Hello, and welcome to Incompetence International. I'm Fishy, and I'll be your games master today. Hint Plays is an RPG and tabletop gaming channel from Hobby Gamers International. Hint also have a Discord, and you can find various of us doing other things, playing games that are not tabletop on other channels and occasionally on this one as well. But mainly on here we run 3 games on a 3-week rotation with a rotating cast of players and games masters. We do occasional specials where we look at new games. We just did one this past Wednesday. If you're interested in Cyberpunk Red, check out the VOD of that. And we also occasionally play online board games and just chat about gaming stuff. Today I am going to be running Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. This is a revision from the mid-90s of the game that came out in 1989 and is therefore older than a lot of the people that I play with these days, and was the first major revision of Dungeons & Dragons back in the day. We are playing the Swords of Slaughterdeep campaign, which is set in the city of Waterdeep on the Sword Coast in the Forgotten Realms, so Faerun, Abertoril, however you want to call it. There were too many names for these locations, even for one campaign. Most campaigns only have one name, not this one. No, they've got loads of them. And this is following a group of, I hesitate to say heroes, but so we'll just say with adventurers, shall we? Who are seeking to make a name for themselves. They're looking for glory and gold, and in one case justice. With me today, and let me just unmute them so that they can actually talk to you. I'm going to have to unmute both of these channels because I've no idea which one you're going through. Probably the wrong one. Sorry about this. I completely forgot that everything had gone horribly wrong on my computer, so this stream is not what it should be. The bird's eye view of Waterdeep was missing from the starting soon picture. There's no name tags on any of these people because I forgot until sort of 10 minutes before getting the call up on people. I forgot that I hadn't actually put the name tags on this new layout screen yet. All kinds of things are going wrong today. But it's okay, because at the moment we're also 2 players down, so hey, what the heck. So, who I have got with me, running around in clockwise order, we have got Nightbites playing Carp's Storm Squall, a Sea Ranger. We have got Jeddah playing Stephanie, and not Stephen. A mage with some interesting quirks and curses. We have got Shard Angel playing Nobwobble, who is a gnome. I forgot what they call the gnome bards now. Basically, a gnome tinker.
I am all of the things that is amazing and helps this party so much.
And also an illusionist, because it is a gnome after all.
Are you going to be playing that person with Nobbles dice?
And we have also got Dratacup, who is playing Shrine, who is a procurer of other people's goods.
Yes.
But he's also quite good in the fight.
Yes, party mother.
So, the story so far. It all began with a simple trip down into Undermountain. And yes, if you know the Forgotten Realms, you'll be aware that there's no such thing as a simple trip down into Undermountain.
The trip down was simple.
Shrine and Carps were part of an expedition seeking a Temple of Shar. Unfortunately, that expedition went badly wrong. Right from the very beginning, it started to go wrong. And soon they found themselves cut off from the rest of the expedition. However, this might be useful, because it seems like that means they are the only survivors of that expedition. They were separated from the expedition by a group of nefarious villains led by a mysterious one-eyed man, who allowed them to live in return for their promise that they would not go back and warn the expedition of an attack that was coming. When they tried to sneak back and tell the expedition anyway, they discovered that the passage they had come through had been blocked off, and so their journey through Undermountain ceased to be let's beat up an ancient temple or loot an ancient temple, and became let's try and get out of Undermountain alive, something which they eventually managed. Arriving back in Waterdeep, the next day they encountered a glyph scribe, which is a cleric of... I can't even remember Chrono's character's god now. I'm really with it today. This is an excellent session. Well done, me. But they encountered a glyph scribe who was known to Lucian. Lucian is not here at the moment, but nor is the glyph scribe. So at the moment I'm talking about people who aren't on camera. Denia, that's the one. The glyph scribe brought them a new task from a local merchant. His daughter had fallen in with a group of ne'er-do-wells, one particular ne'er-do-well, and he wanted the player characters, to try and win her away from these rogues and get her back on the straight and narrow and back to the bosom of her family. As they started to investigate this, they started finding more and more. Firstly, they were able to locate a halfling who was acting as a scout and lookout for the group of ne'er-do-wells. This halfling was pretending to be a little girl in order to be able to remain inconspicuous. But once they were onto her, they were able to follow her into an area of Southward known as the Adventurers' Quarter. There they discovered that this group were attempting to set up a protection racket and shake down local businesses. Not the best plan, given that the Adventurers' Quarter is named that because of the number of ex-adventurers who now live there. Nevertheless, our heroes decided that they would have to see about this and do something. And they were offered more money by Travis Deepdale, owner of the Safe Haven Inn, to add knocking this protection racket on the head to their existing quest of bring home the girl. That led them to discover that an attack was about to be made upon the Garrulous Grocer, a grocery establishment, a store within the Adventurers' Quarter, and they were able to ambush the villains, only to discover that these were not members of the crew that they were looking for, but two mysterious hooded individuals, each bearing, though they didn't find this out till after the fight, obviously, a tattoo of a black diamond upon their person. One of them died, but the other one was captured and interrogated. He refused, however, to give them any useful information. At the end, they let him go, but Nobwobble's familiar Jitterbug, a hummingbird, is following him to ascertain where he goes next. Meanwhile, Anzia, the glyph scribe, and Lucian headed off to the Zorstar, headquarters of the Scribes Guild, to see whether they could find out any information about a mage's sigil that had been found on a device used by these rogues to summon an enlarged mephit, which, had things gone right for them, would have been used to burn down the grocery. As it was defeated by our heroes. At the same time,
quite effectively.
At the same time, Stephanie headed off to the Mages Guild. A, because Stephanie and Stephen need to join the Mages Guild, and B, because they also had a copy of this sigil and were going to try and identify it there. Immediately upon their return, and before they could hand over the information that they had gained from this, the party was thrown into another awkward situation in the basement of Essameth's adventuring supplies, where a magic item that he had acquired accidentally opened a portal, through which came a large brown bear, which decided that it was going to hibernate in the cellar. Our heroes were able to dissuade it and get it to go back through the portal, which they were able to then close, at the end of which Essameth gave them the wand that had opened the portal. They're not entirely sure how it works, but they know it's a powerful magical item, and they're hanging on to it. So, they have now retired to the Safe Haven Inn, once again, Let me just sync this client view in the hope that people can see the Safe Haven Inn. Apparently the stream is not seeing the Safe Haven Inn.
I think you meant that Stefan, not Stephanie, went to the Mage Guild. Just say
What one of you did? I can't remember which. Honestly, neither player actually did it, because what happened there was that the events of those two investigatory expeditions took place between sessions. So this session, I will be telling you what the characters found out on those two visits.
Yay.
So, you've retired to the Safe Haven Inn in the Adventurers' Quarter, which is where you are staying at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And there, Anja and Stephanie will hastily hand over the information that they have got. So, in Stephanie's case, the information is very simple. Upon investigation, you have ascertained that the sigil that you found does not belong to a member of the Mages Guild of Waterdeep, the name of which temporarily escapes me. Told you I'm doing really well here today, didn't I? I've literally forgotten everything about this campaign.
No, you
It's
haven't.
got a really posh name as well. That's it, the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors. So, the sigil that you found is not from a member of that guild.
I'm sorry, I've just seen the name of one of the members. I just googled it to try and help you out. Barnabas Blastwind.
Okay, that's not one I'm familiar with, I've got to admit.
I'm sorry, that's someone with some severe internal issues.
Yeah. Anja has slightly more information from the Zorstar, though not immediately useful information. He discovered two things. Firstly, that none of them could identify the sigil, but they knew somebody who might be able to help. In the Trades Ward, not too far from the Zorstar, lives a man named Gerald Strelthin, who is a sage. He is a wizard himself and knowledgeable on all things magical. If anyone in the city can identify this sigil, it's going to be Strelthin. Secondly, that in the year 321 by the Northern Reckoning, that's roughly 14 years ago, a mercenary company, not an adventuring company, my mistake, a mercenary company incorporated within Waterdeep under the name the Black Diamonds. Although no further record of activity exists within the records of the Scribes Guild, which means that any work they have done is either not in Waterdeep or was not done with a written contract, because that would have been handled by the guild. The banner by which they registered themselves features a hollow black diamond virtually identical to the tattoo that you found on those two men.
Huh.
So, that's the information that you have gleaned from these two visits. Unfortunately, one of the characters responsible for this information is not currently here. The character is obviously a little bit zonked after your fight with the bear, and just taking a little bit of a time out. As apparently is Lucien. He's obviously concerned for his friend, Anja. I mean, it was him who introduced him to you. So.
Yeah, acquaintance, fellow believer in justice. Mm.
I'm not really
We
sure
all
that's
believe in
what you
justice, just, our own
I'm
particular
just working out how to
style.
best look after Lucien. Yeah, it sounds about right. Trying to keep him out of trouble, I'd imagine.
Oh no, I just had a vision of Lucian behind a desk now while Unzia wanders back and forth with the blackboard.
Hello indeed, Chrono. It sounds like Lucien is arriving.
Aha.
If I can actually work VC. Hello, Lucien the excessively large, because that's what Windows has decided to do to the Windows. To the,
Lucian the excessively large.
I'm giant.
Okay, I'm assuming, Lucien, that you did not hear the what has gone before and explanation of what information Onzio found out during your visit to the Source
I
Star?
heard that bit because I had Twitch open for a second to make sure I could handle internet stuff, but
Yeah, you know what? I think
I
you
didn't
still
hear
can't.
anything prior to the Hollow Diamond.
Okay. Basically, I will just summarise that information again. Then what you've got is the sigil that was found does not belong to a member of the Watchful Order, which is the official Waterdeep Mages Guild, but Onzio now has the name and address of a sage in Trades Ward who might be able to identify it for you, and that the Black Diamonds may well be a mercenary company that was incorporated 14 years ago, but has done nothing on record since then. So has either been operating outside of Waterdeep or has not been using written contracts. But their banner does match the tattoo.
So we're after a sage who knows his onions. Huh?
Absolutely, you are after a sage who knows his onions. Somebody had to make that joke, I suppose.
Well, somebody was going to. It was kind of hanging there. I've been making notes and everything. Right.
I have a note about that information, but I can't actually give it to Onzio at the moment because I can, as far as I can tell, I can only share a note with a player who's actually logged in. So remind me that I need to share that next time you're actually here, Chrono.
God, I keep forgetting how good the art is on these character portraits.
Oh, the character portraits are fantastic.
They're
Yes.
superb.
Yes. Really, really happy
Correct
with
me
those.
if I'm wrong, but I should probably prepare a spell, right? Or
Well, it's sort of the middle of the day at the moment, really. I suppose. Hang on, what time was it when? Apologies for this. Not only am I completely unprepared for this, but we skipped the last session, and we only play every 3 weeks. So it's been a while since the previous session. I think. Yeah, no, we must be towards the end of the day now. So I would suggest that possibly a little bit of a council of war at this point, and then everyone can retire and sleep and prepare a spell in the morning.
that sounds like a good idea.
So council of war means you guys role playing and me taking a back seat. Just drinking my tea in silence.
I think it's fairly obvious that our primary lead is this Gerald Strelthin, who might be able to place the sigil. And at least we can try and track down what wizard is guilty of giving these people a bottled demon.
Yeah.
There's nearly hanging up.
I concur to that.
Yes. Meanwhile, of course, we're being watched. Where is... now you got me doing it. Hummingbird target practice.
Jitterbug.
Thank you.
I actually remembered Jitterbug. Jitterbug is in Dock Ward at the moment, based on direction and distance.
At the docks, you said?
Within the Dock Ward, not necessarily at the docks themselves,
Right.
but that part of the city.
The thing is, I'm concerned that if we've managed to discover the information that Strelthin is a person of knowledge regarding mage sigils, then anybody else can. And if you wanted to keep your mage under wraps, it would be sensible to remove people who might be in the know.
Either remove or pay them to not be in the know. I mean, sometimes getting rid of a resource is a lot more...
I don't know what you regard as removed, but I regard being paid off and therefore not talking to anyone as removed.
I mean, there's always some way around that. I mean, you pay... you pay someone so much, and then someone else can come along and pay more. It really depends on the honor of the person you're dealing with. And mages, I mean, there's not a lot of honor among mages.
Really?
How dare you?
I didn't say friendship. There's lots of friendship, but I mean, if you drop something that's useful to me and ends up in my pocket,
That's no honor. That's just
What
that's
you're
nothing to do with.
saying-
That's convenience.
I'm assuming. I take from what you're saying that your inference is that money talks, and
Yeah.
those with the higher budget will get the information they want.
And also, since Lucian is here, someone cover his ears.
No, I've saved him enough times.
Yeah.
Well, see, there's also the opportunity to capture and threaten said person who is being shut up with money, and
But if
give
they're
them their
being
life
trusted with
in order
money,
to give us
they're
information.
in, collaboration. I've forgotten the word that I was trying to use there.
We've never actually met the chap. We don't
Okay.
know whether he needs to be shook by the heels. However, if you come near my purse again, Nob Wobble, you will find yourself dangling from the ceiling. Just saying.
I don't go near your purse. There's nothing in there that's useful to me.
Money isn't useful to you?
No.
You're assuming I keep my money in my purse.
Oh, then maybe there's something useful in there.
And not an interesting assortment of wild biting insects imported from Chult.
Oh, those would make. I could make something based off of what. Can I have one to play with?
I think you can read that as a no.
Anyway, we have two possible leads. We have the active group, possibly, around Dockward, based on your bird. And we have Strelthin, who we can attempt to ascertain who their support is. What do we want to do?
Well, we could split up again.
Always.
I just saw Fish's soul leave his body.
Because it doesn't cause any trouble at all when you do that.
They're capable of throwing minor demons at people. We barely got rid of it last time. And only then because we had the advantage of an ambush. I think half the party would probably be hard pressed to deal if another one of their canned demons.
You may struggle, but I will win
Well,
easily.
And if it happens to the group that you're not in,
Okay.
with,
you're afraid of more demons. That's fine. We should probably go talk to this old guy first, because Jitterbug is just hovering around, hanging out.
can we examine the use of the
Why do
word?
you assume he's an old guy?
Until Jitterbug is killed.
Well, because everyone's an old guy that knows stuff.
Including Nutwobble.
Exactly.
You're not wearing a monocle, even a wizard.
When did monocles become an indication of wizardhood? I thought
Apparently
the
they've replaced the pointy hat.
it's the pointy hat and the if you're in the home base, of course, you know you're in the wizard's place. Because
Look,
they'll have the stuffed crocodile.
Stuffed crocodile, yes.
Look, pointy hats and wands and monocles don't mean anything about a wizard. You need the beard.
The beard is actually an important one on wizards, yes, that's true. Can't argue with that. If you've got a pointy hat and a monocle and a beard, you're definitely a wizard.
I've run wizards. I've run women wizards. None of them did I feel the need to take them down to the local costumiers and buy a fake beard.
That's 'cause you
If
can't
this is
have
not a
proper
fake
wizard.
beard, I am very much an old, wise person.
I wasn't talking about you. I don't think anyone's seen you do your quick change, have they?
Just
Knight has.
the beard.
I'm saying nothing.
Very sensible.
Knight's gonna get a Christmas present. It's just gonna be a monocle and a really pointy hat now.
You
You know, if we all walk around with monocles,
have those.
LARPA.
Exactly.
Yeah. The odds are better than average. Okay. Yeah, covers of Last Christmas are fine, by the way, Molly. We're good.
It's just the original that we can't listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just in general, that song, it's a bit too corny for me.
It was
Which
too
one?
long.
Last Christmas by Wham. It's
This is clearly
it's the same reason why I don't like Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas." And I'm gonna piss off some people by saying that, but it is like over the top and a bit too quiche and
I think
corny.
that the word I would use is awful, but that's just me.
From a musical standpoint, it's actually quite okay.
Yeah, the word I use is profitable.
Yes, I have the Wurzels Christmas album, and I'm happy.
I mean, my Christmas album is Punk Goes Christmas 1 to 4 or something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
I did have the Twisted Sister Christmas album as well, but I haven't been able to re-download that yet since my
I
hard
have.
drive.
That's fun.
I have Christopher Lee's Christmas album, and I'm very happy with it.
Excellent. Yes, good choice.
I've still got the Very Twisted Christmas.
I mean, the only Christmas album I have is.
Well, Fish, this is going to be a Christmas episode.
Apparently, we're early, but it's fine.
I mean, this is like the only one I have. Like, so like every year in Denmark they do like a volume collection of like Christmas hits, and then you have the Tuborg Christmas. Yes, this is a very Danish thing. Every year, hang on, let me see if I can get it without glare. But every year for Christmas, I turn off my screen just to like turn off the glare. But every year, the Danish brewery company called Tuborg. Yes, as in the beer company.
As in the beer company.
Yes, they have a very significant particular advertisement that basically signifies it's Christmas for Danish people.
So that's like Coke
Famous
for the rest
grouse.
of the world.
And
the famous grouse,
it's basically all it is just it's Santa coming into like Jingle Bells without like just like the instrumentals and then like drinking a beer. That is all it
That
is.
does actually sound a lot like the Famous Grouse commercials. Over here, Famous Grouse whiskey advertises only at Christmas, and every year people are waiting for them because they just have this animated grouse, computer-generated animated grouse that just wanders on screen, and you get
Am I allowed to share? Am I allowed to?
And they're fantastic. They really are. Everybody's waiting for the Famous Grouse commercials every year.
Am I allowed to post it? Oh, okay. Am I even able to?
Hang on a minute. Oh, I'm not going to ban you. Don't say. What?
That'd be a bit strong.
He wants to post a link. I can permit him, or I can preemptively ban.
Preemptively banned sounds more fun.
I don't know if anyone noticed that this afternoon I accidentally banned someone.
Wait, does he even
for a second
drink?
and a half.
Oh wait, no, he doesn't drink it beer.
Yep.
That just shows how much I remember.
I
It's just him chasing after a wagon with beer.
I thought Santa normally drank sherry. That's the tradition.
Yeah. Right. So we have this is unfortunately. If we meet any orphans, and we have to preemptively drown them, because otherwise they're going to be cute and winsome, and we'll have to teach us the new meaning of Christmas.
What? No, I don't like that idea.
That may be Twitch itself blanking that link if we've permitted.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, whisper it to Luca. Oh, my days are crumbly. Right. So, okay. So what are we going to do? Do we follow up on the bird, or do we go check out Gerald? And of course, just because Trine is talking like she's in charge, doesn't have to have people put up with it.
No, this is a democracy. You can take a vote.
Yeah, but Shrine's talking sense. When Shrine starts talking out of the other end.
Well, if this is a democracy and Shrine's talking sense, then you can guarantee that the one thing you won't be doing is what Shrine said.
What are you talking about?
Oh, well done having a snipe everywhere there, Fish.
I know. It's one of those days. I apologise.
Aye, humbug.
Yes, that's if. Did you see? Unfortunately, you're in the Safe Haven Inn. We'd
Yeah.
have to go to something like maybe Cyberpunk Red again if people wanted to visit the Bar Humbug, because that's where everybody drinks in Night City these days. I'm sure it's the Bar Humbug.
I've got to put a jazz bar in called the Bar Humbug.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that could be where my character actually plays most of the time.
For everyone, it's far too cool to have a good time.
Hmm.
Obvious though the Bar Humbug joke is, I did actually steal it from. I'm sorry. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I haven't a clue.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I haven't a clue. Did a Christmas special where it was utterly bizarre because they remembered for a moment, I think, that their origins were in I'm Sorry, I'll Read That Again, and the whole of their Christmas special was just a version of Christmas Carol with Humphrey Littleton as Scrooge, and there was the big Christmas party, if I remember rightly, took place at the Bar Humbug.
Ebenezer Scrooge. Ow.
Oh.
No, Ebenezer.
Scrump, that was what they called him. He was Scrump.
That was it. Okay. Didn't what's her face, the alleged scorekeeper, end up as the villain?
I remember an awful lot of gags, but I don't really remember the plot. In as much as it had one.
Fair enough.
Isn't the plot just Christmas Carol?
I would be perfectly happy, by the way, just repeating in chat.
Rather simplified.
People wanted to create characters to run their own games of Cyberpunk Red, but focused around a common neighborhood. That would be so cool. So everybody's games would be in the same universe.
I love multi-GM games. I think they're a lot of fun, where you've got the events from one GM's scenario sort of coming across and forming the backdrop to somebody else's. We used to do that an awful lot with GURPS Supers mainly, where we would use newspaper headlines. We'd write up the newspaper headlines, so at the beginning of every session, the newspaper headlines would be influenced by whatever events that any GM wanted to insert, plus whatever had happened in the most recent scenarios, so that you had that consistent world. It was really fun.
It also gives opportunity for characters to jump from one group to another, depending.
Yeah. With that one, we literally just ran. Whoever had the plot would say, like, "Okay, I'm running a plot." Give a vague idea of what the hook was going to be, to know what sort of characters would get involved, and then everybody had multiple characters and just picked which one they wanted to play in that particular game. So there was a lot of mix and match between the characters rather than everybody running the same super all the time.
Mm.
You sort of started something like that in the Discord, didn't you? And then
yeah, that was the idea behind the Unnamed Supers project on the Discord that still has yet to actually get any further than some vague ideas.
But it just occurred to me that if people wanted to run a multi-GM game, it'd be really cool to have running in different slots instead of just always having to focus on the Sunday. Sorry.
Cool though this conversation is, if anybody's actually watching this because they want to watch Swords of Slaughterdeep,
sorry.
I'm thinking more in terms of the VOD, if people are watching through Swords of Slaughterdeep and none of this is Swords of Slaughterdeep. We could, of course, just do a shortish Swords of Slaughterdeep session and then maybe end it at a point where the VOD can end and have a discussion about other things that Hint Place could do afterwards, because that would save me having to do too much this session.
We'll let you
all in favour say aye. No.
See how it plays out, and if we get to a suitable cut-off point, call it, and we'll then chat.
So, meanwhile, you were debating whether or not you were going to investigate the chap you let go and see what he's up to, because he's currently being watched by Jitterbug, or whether you were going to head into the trades ward to find Gerald, the sage. Or indeed, whether you were going to do both, and which order you were going to do them in. Gerald, logically, you would want to go and visit in the morning after you've had your rest. Whereas perhaps Rel, the chap that you will be following, might be doing more interesting things at night, i.e. within the next few hours. But that would be before you have a chance to rest up and regain spells and things like that.
On the other
I've
hand,
got all my spells. I don't know what your problems is.
some of us don't do spells. It's not really a problem.
But are
Spells
these
here.
things you call
Only a
spells?
coward rely on magic.
Steady on there, kiddo.
If it wasn't for magic, you would.
Already. I'm not about to save you from a spell slinger.
See as Kelvin Aronson wanders through and just beats up Lucian with his stick. Because he can't even be bothered to waste a spell on him.
Visions. Now there's an image. Yes, if it wasn't for magic, you would be in several pieces at the bottom of a 600-foot drop. At least. And probably eaten by a bear. Well, I suppose eaten if you're lucky.
So,
I
Upside
would
down.
argue of that last one. If it wasn't for magic, he wouldn't have been in the position to have been eaten by a bear. Because without magic, that thing would have never turned up.
that's probably true.
All you know, though, a bear could have wandered in, escaped from a travelling troop. So a bear could have occurred. It just wouldn't necessarily have occurred there.
Who
So,
I'm
would-
going to try and save you, Lucian. I'm done. I'm done.
see, this is it.
Fortunately, the world of D&D is actually much nicer than the real world. Otherwise, this city would be full of bears.
True. That place in what,
They have
Michigan?
arms.
Well, I hadn't realised until relatively recently, I only discovered this quite recently, that cockfighting
Yeah.
it was a common pastime of the young.
Yeah,
As in, actually children. It would be them organising the things.
interesting.
Children do the damnedest things,
Yeah.
especially when they're bored.
Yeah. Adults tended to be using dogs or dogs and bears at the same time, and the kids would be fighting chickens. It's a strange world, medieval England.
Can you rephrase that as kids would be setting chickens to fight each other? Not that you'd be throwing children into the pit to fight
Look.
chickens.
Young Alphonse, you're not earning your keep. Get in that ring with a chicken.
That's a Colosseum
You know,
we'd like to go
The
visit.
chicken will win 9 times out of 10. That's the problem.
They're vicious things. Yeah.
They are vicious and they're cannibals.
Specifically roosters.
Right. Okay. So shall we follow Vel and Jitterbug?
Yeah, if we're prepared to go. Quiet.
Frequently.
Oh my god. Child.
Okay, so we're going out after dark. Okay.
Yeah. So, take a small break, rest up, patch up your bear wounds.
Unfortunately, this hood's just too long. I want to cut
Quick look
eye
at that
holes here.
Lucian seems to be the only person who's particularly injured.
Yeah, but Lucian got slammed into the ceiling and then nearly eaten by a bear, so I'm not surprised.
Actually, Stephen was wounded, which means that Stephanie is wounded. So
I was trying to poke it. I was
Let me
following
just-
the instructions.
I would
There we go.
argue I have suffered no
You-
emotional, physical damage whatsoever from that fire attack. I didn't feel it.
A pet mimic would be so useful. You could have it take the form of anything you happen to need on hand at the time.
Not necessarily how it works.
I laughed, he laughed, the table laughed. We killed the
killed the
table.
table.
Good times.
Times. Yes.
I can't wait till we get to fight the gazebo.
Oh, poor Eric and the Dread Gazebo.
Right, let's not start that conversation again. We did that in scenario 1.
I know. It's not my fault. I hate reruns. Right. Okay, so the logical thing to do is for those of us who are a bit stealthy to attempt a low-key approach to Vel.
I think, honestly, that's basically you.
I thought you were.
Not that much. I mean,
I mean, I'm not stealthy, but I do have a few tricks up my sleeve. Also, I know where Jitterbug is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. You're the only one who knows where your pet is.
Yes, obviously Noble needs to be involved in the
Yeah.
locating of Jitterbug.
Right. Okay, so let's head over, see what we're dealing with, and then we can take steps when we get closer to the mark.
Fair enough.
There's no need for me to parkour my way across half the city.
Also, we don't want Lucian clanking around.
Oh, I suspect we very much do want Lucian clanking.
So
Oh no, nearby, just not once we get closer.
Ah.
We need to sit him up like one of those statues in a castle, and he can guard a wall from
maybe
evil.
stand him on a street corner. If he stands still enough, people might throw him a few coppers if they think he's a living statue.
Actually, that's a good way to start bustering, and then sometimes move just a little bit.
That's a possibility, but I was thinking in terms of Lucian's very noticeable. And if someone's noticing Lucian, they're focused on Lucian. They're not necessarily focused anywhere else.
Well, that works.
Is Lucian actually that noticeable though?
Yes.
I'm looking at the picture. Yes.
It's not just your voice, Lucian. You stand out.
Chainmail.
Yeah, very shiny chainmail. Shiny teeth.
It's the L'Oreal hair that really does it.
It's the L'Oreal hair.
No one's going to comment that the shiny chainmail also makes noise.
Yeah, well.
I mean, that's it.
To misquote Bernard Black, I bet he washes his hair in streams.
Well,
What had stealth chainmail, and it was they've actually silk wrapped each link in the chain. My only thought was, you have never encountered actual chain, have you?
Yeah. I've come across people who've had in games who have had and games in fact where they've actually put it into equipment lists. They've had stealth modified chainmail, and frankly, it's not going to work. It would be even worse than a suppressor on a firearm, which, as we were discussing around CP Red, they burn out. They don't last.
Yeah, no way.
And it would burn out even quicker. Things to cool off chainmail, to silence chainmail.
Yeah, I was thinking of a guy I used to do taiko with who makes 2 mil chainmail.
Oh god.
Oh god.
And etches names onto the rings, because I have a couple of Christmas presents from him. A little coaster, and
yeah, that chain coaster is cool.
it's just but the rings are just like that. And when you look at it under a magnifying glass, he'd etched name of whoever he was giving it to in the.
So this is 10 mil aluminium chain. It was made for life. It's not that noisy, but it's aluminium. There's not a lot of mass to it.
Yeah.
The idea of silencing it by wrapping bits of it, no, forget that. Never happening.
No. I was thinking
there are
either.
2 ways to silence your chainmail clad character. One is called silence 15-foot radius,
Yes.
and the other is called take the bloody thing off.
Yep.
Yes.
Wouldn't stealth chainmail be just a knitted jumper? If the jumper was knitted out of 10 gauge wire, then yeah.
It's a good point.
now,
Actually,
wait
BBC
a minute,
chainmail
wait a
doesn't make
minute.
so
It
much
doesn't
noise
have to
because
be
that's
wired
just
to be
wool.
chainmail. If you knit it properly and make chain links out of the knitting, it's still chain.
No. A wooden jumper is not chain.
What if you make it out of wood?
There is a reason LARPers call even people turning up to a LARP in knitted mail fake mail. You can knit it, you can spray it with silver paint, fake mail.
Yeah.
It's a
What the
lot
BBC
warmer
used to
than
do.
chainmail.
It's really, really
It'll
cheap
protect
way
from
of
the
doing
cold.
things, and it looks good on camera.
It does look good on
Yes,
camera.
it does.
Yeah. But that's basically what should go under
So
your
I'm
chain.
not saying chainmail is noisy, but it's a minus 40% penalty to the move silently skill.
Okay.
It would be possible to stealth plate mail though, because it's solid plates that are moving against each other. And if you put cloth in between those,
Yeah. partial plate can certainly be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting into the realms of something like the Wisby coat, isn't it?
Oh God, yes, the coat of plates, isn't it? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Fish. If you wanted non-digressions, you should.
Yeah, well, at least this is relevant. We're still talking about fantasy stuff now. Talking about stuff that could appear in AD&D. I'm cool with that.
We're still talking about Lucian here.
Yeah, we are. Lucian is neither quiet nor nondescript. No, he is not.
Yeah. I mean, Lucian has
shining
no
beacon of
stealth
justice.
skills. But if you wanted him to be quiet, you'd have to try and get hold of some Elven Chain. Because, of course, we know Elven Chain, for reasons best known to someone who isn't me, doesn't make noise.
Is it rubber coated?
Maybe.
Now there's an alternative.
But Elven Chain is hugely impressive because it doesn't interfere with your thief skills and it doesn't interfere with the casting of spells.
Isn't there still a penalty
So,
in second?
as far as I can tell, it's basically just not made of metal.
So yes, the elves are wandering around in the knitted long jumpers.
They've got woolen chainmail, yeah, but it's just because they're elves, no one's got the nerve to tell them, and as a result, their weapons bounce off it anyway. It's the power of belief.
Every second link in the chain is made from rubber. We
I'm
know
waiting.
elves live in woodland and have trees.
Yes.
They've used the sap from the trees to make rubber, and every second link is a rubber O-ring.
There you go. There, we've now answered the question of why does Elven Chain not make noise.
Silent chain, also useful in case your tap leaks. Putting the force into forceful imagination.
It is true, Nid, that then your chains wouldn't be able to move, but nor would you.
True.
Go plug it in.
Okay. I feel like we'll have more
So
luck.
the plan is to head to the dock ward, find Jitterbug, and have the stealthier people move forward and investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do keep in mind that as a ranger, I don't get the land ranger
As a
version
sea ranger,
Yeah.
you don't get the normal
because
move.
I have
Yeah.
aquatic fighting and
Yes.
sea
Yeah.
legs.
You can swim quietly, but that's
You're,
it.
you're trained to fight water.
If you give it the way the ducks, if you want to chuck him in the water, I'll quite happily fight him in the water because I will have an advantage.
I've seen what floats in the water.
I can
might
see if it doesn't float in the water.
Chainmail.
Pillets that jump off a boat. Where
People in chainmail, yeah.
I just need to practice swimming like a
So-
fish.
By Monty Python logic, does this mean that witches are made of chainmail?
Yes.
Now, this brings up another important question. If someone was wearing scale mail instead of chainmail, would they be able to swim better?
No.
What if
It's
you made armor
it's
out
heavy.
of crocodile hide?
That's leather. And
But see,
then-
fish wear scale, and that helps them move through the water effectively and efficiently. So if a person wears scale, should do the same, right?
Yeah, fish scales aren't made of metal last time I checked.
yeah.
Unless you've got
Scale
some really weird fish. I mean, actually, this is D&D. There may be some fish with metal scales in this game somewhere. I'm not going to say there definitely aren't.
And what
They
animated
put out a lot of
providers
monsters
now?
for 2nd edition.
Sorry, Nid's comment is brilliant.
An anchor.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, little piece of trivia. This edition, 2nd edition, had more monsters than any other edition of D&D has ever had. This is the
Probably because it's
single
one of the
most-
oldest.
Well, no, it had way more than 2nd, way more than 1st even, way more than basic D&D, and way more than 3rd, which came after it. A lot of monsters from 2nd have never been seen since.
Why?
To be fair, it did also have the Invisible Stalker where they ran out of art.
Oh yeah, but the Invisible Stalker's been in every edition. It's just that in 2nd edition, the illustration in the Monstrous Compendium is literally just an empty box. There's nothing in it.
I mean, it's an invisible stalker. What did you
Precisely.
expect? What kind of art?
Yeah.
I suppose you could do an artwork of someone being murdered by something invisible.
Yeah, mostly that's what they tend to go for. But in that edition, they literally just put nothing in the art box.
I mean, they could have just made up how it should look like, kind of like how the horses in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, how they have a shape, but you can only see them if you had like a near-death experience, but they still have a shape.
Well, I mean, it's a lot like the various things in Cthulhu. We can't see them because we have not the ability to perceive them, but they do have shape and are there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I had to upload a picture. I promised to upload a picture of this. Yeah.
How far away is Rob?
Very true, Chrono, very true.
It was like, what,
And also
20 minutes?
The format in which monsters were published in this edition made it very easy to bring out a heck of a lot of monsters. The Monstrous Compendium,
I love that.
which
Those
replaced the Monster
books.
Manual in that edition, and then vanished. The revision, the 2.5 revision, that's technically what we're playing, went back to a Monster Manual, though they called it the Monstrous Manual to match up with the Monstrous Compendium. But the Monstrous Compendium was a big old 3-ring binder, about yay thick. And then they brought out all of these additional compendiums with more monsters in, and those just came as hole punched pieces of paper, and you could fit loads of them into the Monstrous Compendium binder. And then the second, I think it was Monstrous Compendium 2 possibly, gave you an additional binder for yet more of them. So I've got 2 knackered ring binders over there full of monsters because of the way they did that. And it was a really, really nice idea because it just meant that you could organise the monsters however you wanted. You could just take out a page for the monster that you needed, or half a dozen pages for the monsters that you needed for that session, and keep them with you and then put them back in the ring binder afterwards. And just overall, it was my favourite way of doing monsters of any edition.
So, since you have one of these, yes? Since you have one, you need to set up an arena for us to come to where we have to face off the smallest to the very largest, going all the way through that book.
But it's that thick.
I've got 2.
Yeah. It would be a great arena battle.
That thick.
Not an arena where you have to go through them, but where you can go through them and get prizes.
I just get to the end and it's just like unbeatable.
Yeah, the
I've
Jurassic
seen the
is a lot.
stats on some of the things in here. There would be.
Yes.
This was before the invention of epic levels, so the equivalent of epic level stuff was just shoved in the normal monster manuals.
Everything is beatable. It's just how you beat it. Sometimes you got to talk to it. Sometimes you got to give it some tea. Sometimes you stab it in the face. I mean,
I've got stats for Monkey.
monkeys need stats.
No, monkey.
No, not monkeys. Monkey, capital M. Into the West.
Born from an egg and
The
a
Monkey
Ah.
King. I have his-
Okay.
Yeah, they came with the Carateur Monstrous Compendium appendix. It's a bit hard.
Yes. Right.
Anyway, you are
To the docks.
going to head to Dockward. So let me find my maps.
What language is Thoras again?
Thoras is Old Common, basically. So, in most cases, if you just think of it as being Latin, you're not so very far off.
Right, that's what it was. Okay, because I'm a scholar.
That map. No, I don't want that map after all.
So are we still doing a war council right now?
I think we've come to the
I think
conclusion.
at this point you've pretty much made a decision, so unless somebody's going to argue with that decision, your war council is now largely ending in favour of you actually heading out in search
And beating
of...
up some old guy, yeah?
No, the old guy's in the morning.
Yeah, you're going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's what our war council was about.
Yeah, we're going to the docks to follow Jitterbug and figure out more about the Black Diamonds. In the evening,
Oh,
where nefarious things are happening, and in the morning, after we might get some rest, we'll go and speak to the old guy.
I missed the part about Jitterbug. I think that was probably when I was like focused on food.
Yes, we're going to the docks to meet a bird. Then we're going to beat up an old guy in the morning. Meet up with an old guy in the morning. You've got me doing it now.
Sounds positively wholesome.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds
I mean,
like of Christmas.
Old people are less grumpy in the morning.
Really?
How did you know?
Because I'm not grumpy in the morning, and I'm old.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you're just a morning person.
Yeah. I don't trust morning people.
I also stay up later than you do, weak little child. Not you.
Just checking.
There's only one child here.
Is there a child here?
What?
Depends on your definition
Oh,
of
right,
child.
that child. The child in your list. I was just running through the possible list. I thought, no, none of them are kids.
Depends on your definition of child.
Are we talking about Lucian here or about Shard's child?
Well, take your pick.
I'm gonna go with both.
Who's
There
got
we
the
go.
greater emotional
Both
maturity?
sounds good.
I
Have
have
we taken
lots
your
of
role?
maturity.
No, no.
All of my teachers at primary school all said I was very mature for my age.
Well, that is far beyond now.
What they
obviously
said
haven't
last
matured
year means nothing this year.
Oh! Knight with the most polite burn I've heard in a while.
Oh, look at that face. He's so sad now.
Oh no, we're happy you made it
Wait,
on
what?
today. We are, however, taunting you. I do apologise. I say we, mostly them. Okay.
Okay,
Almost dead.
indeed. Right. Okay, let me just share this.
Yay! Wow, that is way too
Right.
big. I gotta fix this.
Unfortunately, this map is relatively low resolution, so
Yeah, I was gonna say,
zoomed in
it's
this
like
far,
looking
it
at
doesn't
static.
look great.
Well,
Oops.
But
It's
you can zoom out further if you want,
Yeah.
but obviously it becomes harder to identify the tokens. But you don't need really to identify the tokens. This is just to show you where you are. You are actually in a very familiar place. You have headed back out of the Adventurers Quarter, out of the South Ward, across the thing that I should be able to remember the name of, the Way of the Dragon. That was it.
Yep.
And back into the Dock Ward. Not only are you heading back into Dock Ward, but you are heading back to the right part of Dock Ward. This is where you came from. You don't turn towards the Mule Skull Tavern, where you met up, but instead find yourself heading along Fish Street towards the Ship Inn, or the Ship's Prow Inn, rather, which is where Shrine and Carps spent the night after they returned from Undermountain.
Yes. I still worry about
As your party approach, Jitterbug flies over and returns to Nobwobble.
Hi, there you are.
And
Hopefully.
from her flying about and her antics, and the fact that you have an empathic sense with her, you can tell that she is guiding you not to the ship's prow, but to a disreputable-looking tavern opposite it, marked as 269 on the map there.
When you say disreputable,
Wait, are you saying we're going to 269, not 268?
Yes. Ignore the big. I'll move the big marker. The big marker was there because that was where they were staying previously. So
Yeah.
we'll move it and put it on the building that you're actually in. It's
Nice.
radical, but it might work.
Well, Lucian, go ahead and panhandle for a little bit. We'll let our more seedier folk go in and check it out.
So, on the eastern side of the intersection of Fish Street, Odd Street, and Ship Street is the Thirsty Sailor Tavern. Those of you who know Waterdeep will know that the Thirsty Sailor is an infamous dive.
Right.
It is best known as the place to go if you want to get your nose broken.
Oh, good.
Often, it's not nary a night passes where there isn't a bar brawl in the ships in the Thirsty Sailor. It's more nary an hour passes where there isn't a bar brawl. It's how many brawls will break out over the course of one night in this place.
Do I know how bad this place is?
Oh yeah, you
I think
absolutely
I've
know.
walked before.
This is the kind of place that that you would know about, and I'm also going to say it's that Carps knows about it because we justified your being in the ship's prow as it being an inn that Carps knew, so he would also know the reputation of the tavern opposite.
Which is why I was in the ship's prow rather than
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. Well, there's no accommodation in the Thirsty Sailor, but there's no drinking in the ship's prow. So what you tend to get is that you've got a very nice, neat, well-organised, well-maintained inn, and then the closest place to get a drink will beat the crap out of you.
Right. Yeah, the whole building, apparently. Not the occupants or anything.
So we're sending Lucian in first, right?
If you send Lucian in first, he's going to come out in at least 3 separate buckets.
Ah, just all limbs broken.
This isn't the sort of place you want to be noticed. Unless you
So-
actually want to invite a fight. If you want to invite a fight, then by all means. They probably won't even kill him.
What you're
Not for
looking
the
at
first round
here,
anyway.
Yeah.
what you're looking at here is a building that is fieldstone for the first level, and then wood above. However, it is old and dilapidated and has been patched, so the wood doesn't match. It's not a nice half-timbered type building or anything like that. It is literally looks like it has been put together ad hoc as it goes, and half of the planks that are making this place are clearly replacements and don't match the ones next to them. They
So
haven't bothered painting it afterwards to make it look nice. It is just a patchwork. It looks almost like it belongs in a shanty.
So this is very much the building equivalent of a 1982 Cortina, with 4 different door
Yes.
panels and patches of primer that no one's quite gone over yet.
That's exactly it. This is the building equivalent of that.
This sounds like it has been done this way intentionally.
Sounds like it's been done this way because it's cheap.
Yeah, it sounds more like someone's punched a hole in the wall and they've just slapped something over the top.
There are places that look like somebody may have punched a hole in the wall, and there is a bit of wood, even in the stone walls at the bottom. There's no windows on the ground floor. All the spaces where you assume there were windows have been boarded over.
Sounds like people have been thrown through.
So yeah, that begs the question: what happens when people would have got thrown through a window? Do they now actually just get bashed?
They get a
into
headache.
wood? Yeah, fair.
It's not that well put together. You throw someone hard enough, and that board's coming away.
It's not that they're on hinges at the top, so someone gets thrown through. And it's
No, though that is a really neat idea that I may incorporate.
They just have saloon door windows so that people can fly out without damaging anything.
Oh, there's a market there for a wizard with low-level telekinesis spells.
You don't even need you don't even need springs. All you need is just a bit of rope and a weight attached to each door, so that when you push it
I'll
open,
also
the
close.
weight just pulls it close again.
You're muted, Shard.
You're muted, Chard, so I hope that wasn't important.
I mean, I already had that idea. It's in my notebook for making automatic doors. But it would also be pretty cool just to put up an illusory door that people could walk through. kind of like I'm thinking of it as magic fiction, like the future where all doors it holds out the air, keeps it warm inside, but you can just walk through.
I just assumed that an illusory door would be brilliant to put up against a solid wall.
Oh yeah, well, I did that earlier. I mean,
So
what was it, last night?
Somebody comes rush out of the door. You do it straight into a brick wall.
It is a classic way to stop somebody who's running away from you. Just move the door 1 foot to either side.
That's why I took the spells that I have, so I can put up an illusory door to the side and then use Phantasm on them.
So, is that from the Great Mage Wile E. Coyote?
Right, that's the one, yes.
I refuse to cite sources other than my own brain.
So I think it is. Okay. Right, how are we going to do this? To be honest, I think Shrine looks like she could probably belong in there.
I will point out the reputation that you have for this place. It's not like the Thirsty Throat, where you visited recently, and Lucian tried to get himself killed. The Thirsty Throat is full of ne'er-do-wells and criminals. The Thirsty Sailor is full of its namesake. This is where sailors come to drink and blow off steam. So it's not necessarily that you're going to get knifed.
Yeah.
But you will possibly get a tattooed fist to the face because there's some guy in there who's been on board ship for 4 months and is now just looking to do anything that doesn't involve sailing a ship.
You see, now I had a vision where you said, if you're not careful, you might get a tattoo. My brain didn't.
And that could happen.
Occupational hazard.
Okay. We can go in separately. We can go in covertly. Or we can go in en masse.
Or we can go in groups.
Yeah, I was thinking that for separately.
Well, it's not a comfortable place, but I'm not exactly going to stick out there.
No, being a ship's carpenter.
Exactly. So I'm quite happy to go in first if we're going in separately. Likewise, Shrina, you're more or less local, so you'll probably be okay in there as well. It's this lot I'm worried about, and I'd be worried about them going in on their own.
They are rather more tourists, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not a tourist here, but I agree. I don't necessarily fit in that crowd.
May I just... as
But
the DM... Sorry, carry on. Didn't mean
maybe I have some disguise skills.
Maybe?
What I was wondering, Carps, was if you went in and then the others went in separately to you, and I can keep an eye out back just in case Rel decides to pull a fade.
Yep, that works.
I was going to say, as your DM, I feel I should not query you for the purposes of me needing to know, but query you for the purposes of you needing to know what you're actually going in there for. All you have at the moment is that Jitterbug has guided you to this tavern, having followed Rel. So one assumes this means that Rel has gone into this tavern. But that is all the information you have.
The idea is to find out, I think, if Rel is meeting with anybody. If he's just in there drinking his sorrows, then, oh well, happens to the best of us.
Well, even then, Rel has seen all of our faces.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Did Rel see my face?
Depends which face.
I mean, technically he hasn't seen my face either, because my face changes slightly.
Well, during the fight, I don't know if I was part of the interrogation, but during the fight, I was up on the roof the whole time. The face that he saw when I walked up to them in the alley prior to the night was a different face.
I think you were involved in the interrogation, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so too. So he has seen all of our faces, and that makes it even harder to follow him in without being spotted.
Mm.
Hmm.
The thing is, if he's meeting with someone, then that gives us somebody new to target and tail. If he's on his own and decides to bolt, I can pick him up outside the back and follow him.
I mean, I can easily put Jitterbug on rear door duty.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we could also get him really, really drunk. So much that he can't recognize us.
I was explaining to him how many of his fingers I was planning on breaking. I would imagine it would take quite a lot of alcohol to make him forget that.
Well,
it's me old mate Shrine. Get another beer in and break some fingers.
Whole new meaning
I
to
don't-
what we practice.
I think that much alcohol would make any information we got out of him at that point completely useless.
He's rather specious, possibly.
Yeah.
Molly says one knob wobble in a trench coat. Wait, do one of you have a big black cloak? I could sit on your shoulders and we could pretend to be a giant with a tiny head.
Yes and no.
No, you don't have it memorized at the moment, but you do actually have the change self skill.
Oh,
So theoretically, yeah, you could, with stilts and a trench coat and the change self spell, you could definitely look like something other than you are.
Tomorrow I could do it.
Tomorrow you
Not
could
today.
do it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's not get overcomplicated. I'm going to head in, I'm going to have a look around, and then I will leave.
Okay.
Just pull your cloak down over your face so he doesn't notice it.
Wrong tavern for that. If I can be covert,
Fair enough.
do I need to make a disguise check? There. Sorry, English, my second language today. Skills, I have skills.
So, do you need to make a non-weapon proficiency check? Do you
That's one of the words I was looking for.
Right, so what exactly are you doing?
I am sliding into the tavern to try and scope out who's in there who doesn't necessarily look like a pissed sailor. The idea of what should we do with the drunken sailor is ignore them and focus on Vel and anyone who looks like they might be trying to be a bit covert.
Okay. I thought that non-weapon proficiency existed, but
So it's either going to be me going in, doing it all covertly, or Carps wandering in under cover of being a sailor looking for a drink. What do you reckon,
I
guys?
think the best chance is if I walk in undercover sailor being a drink, so sailor going for a
Really?
drink, and you go in, do your surveillance thing. If anything kicks off, you've got me as backup.
Fair enough.
And also, Carps would be less conspicuous walking in first.
At what point did Shrine look conspicuous?
Everything about Shrine is conspicuous to me.
In this place, Shrine is not a sailor,
No.
and thus conspicuous. Purely because of not being a sailor.
there is that.
Robinson, would you like to clarify, please, that that was not in reality?
Okay, whaling is the term for mobile game players when you spend a large amount of money in one go in order to get a rare item.
I thought the term for that was stupid.
I
Yeah.
was assuming
So-
I was known as
so
Knocking the Gullible.
in the mobile game community, if you are a whale, it means that you are someone who spends large amounts on the game.
Yes,
What
that's
the-
because they've stolen it from the gambling community, where
Yeah.
a whale is a high roller who brings a lot of money in and loses it.
Yeah.
I am
Guess
semi-
what you're doing?
So
I am
well,
very
you are
smart,
gambling, so it
Yeah.
makes sense. It's just that's how it's come into the mobile game community. So
Oh.
going whaling means that you're spending a large amount to get a character or item that you want.
To get something worth next.
Hey, Robin. Maybe you've learned your lesson that it's very expensive with low returns.
Nah,
If this was the first time he'd done it, I might believe that.
I spent less this time though.
You're getting better.
It was so it was 200. Then last year it was 350, and then this year it was only 150.
But Robin, as far as I can hear, the problem is that you didn't double down.
My worst
Sorry.
run was the 200 one though, because I only got one
You're right,
character for that 200.
Yeah. The idea of 200 quid going on the mobile game.
But I got 4 for the 350 one, so I'm happy with that.
You know, since Lucian is being played by a whaler, does that make him technically a sailor?
No.
It might actually be, Looper, yes. Spending that much money on booze to get basically no useful result.
Yeah.
Christian can't wow, he has no money.
Okay. Right. Okay, Culp's first then.
Yep. So I'll head in first. Order myself an ale, and find somewhere where I'm least likely to get pulled into the nearest bar.
Okay.
And hopefully we've
So-
got a reasonable view of the room.
Yeah.
The interior of the Thirsty Sailor is no better than the exterior of the Thirsty Sailor. All of the furniture in here is absolute cheapest quality, and straight away you can see that an awful lot of it has been patched in a similar manner to the building. It's clearly been broken many times and just put back together as best they can. You can see chairs with bits of wood nailed to the legs to hold them back together. You can see chairs with completely the wrong legs on, where they've taken the bits of 3 or 4 broken chairs and put them back together to make a chair. The tables are stained and scratched and have bits chopped out of them here and there. At a glance, looking around, you cannot see a single glass or ceramic container. It's all things like leather tankards that don't break easily during a bar brawl.
Right.
And there are quite a lot of people in here who you immediately recognise as, yes, these are sailor and dock worker types. They're all clearly having a good time. There isn't a brawl going on at this moment, but there are a couple of guys wrestling in one corner. There are at least 3 different drinking songs being sung loudly at the same time, creating quite a cacophony as they all try and drown each other out.
And of course, being drunk sailors, I'm guessing they're all incredibly out of tune with themselves, let alone the other.
Let
things that
alone
are
with the
going
other,
on.
yeah. You
Yeah.
can see dice games taking place at least 2 tables, and nobody pays a blind bit of attention to you as you come in. It's not one of those taverns where you walk in and everything stops and they look. This is a tavern where you walk in and you're completely ignored until you bump into somebody at the bar, spill somebody's pint, or otherwise do one of the many things that can start a fight.
I'm trying to be very, very careful not to bump into anyone.
It's the kind of thing where like it's Sea of Thieves, where everybody has a different instrument and playing like a different tune.
No, it's
Kind
Sea
of
of
place.
Thieves. If you're in the same group, the tunes sync up.
I know, but still.
Unlike here.
Okay. So, you've already gone in.
Okay, so yeah, behind the bar there is a tall, not particularly pleasant-looking gentleman with tiny, deep-set eyes who stares coldly at you as you approach, and as you're walking up, just reaches down and scoops out a tankard of ale from a barrel behind the bar. Doesn't even wait for you to arrive and order anything. Just plonks the tankard down on the bar in front of you as you arrive.
I had a vision of him giving you a tankard of the local sake.
How much?
Copper.
I shall hand him a copper.
Okie dokie. You can see a cabinet, essentially, behind the bar. It looks like the most solid piece of furniture in this place, although it also has been patched on many occasions. And it doesn't have anything like glass in it, but the front is slatted, so you can just about see that there are glass bottles inside it. Other than that, all you can see drink-wise is there's a couple of large barrels behind the bar that he is just scooping out ale from. There's nothing complicated about the way this is served, apart from the fact that there are apparently bottles of something available.
The minute you ask something about the bottles, you know everyone's gonna go deathly quiet and everyone's just gonna look.
The oldie slaughtered lamb. Interesting.
You should inquire to see if there's like some speakeasy secret rooms that are also just as crap, but hidden away behind walls.
Hello, good sir. I would like to associate with some of the more nefarious elements of this good city.
I just have in my head, I must admit, I just half wanted him to walk up and say, "I'll have a baby sham." You remember those adverts, don't you? Here.
Yeah.
Oh God. I'll have a baby sham.
That's the one. Anyway, so yeah, you are in the tavern at the moment. You are not being hassled, but you're just stood at the bar with a drink. Now, did I put appropriate perception type skills on everyone's character sheets yet? Because I was going to.
Yeah.
Right, the answer to which is no, I didn't. Okay, let me do this now. It occurs to me that rather than keep asking you to roll against a proficiency that you don't have, all of you, instead, I will add that proficiency to your character sheet, but then apply a suitable penalty to it so that it's operating at the default level, which in this case is going to be a modifier of -7.
Okay. That's a lot.
That's a big modifier.
That is a big modifier. So now, hopefully, you now have an alertness non-weapon proficiency of 8, which, if you ever take the non-weapon proficiency, will suddenly gain another 7 points because it'll stop working off a default.
I haven't got my book to hand. When do we get non-weapon proficiencies?
You do. It depends on your specific class as to when you get them.
For me, it's either 3 or 5. So I'm never getting that one.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, when does a rogue get one?
Right, if you open up your character sheet and then press the little cog next to your class thing, because you've got 2 classes in your case, but where it says class, anyway. And then the shield on the rightmost edge of that will bring up the information on that class. And somewhere down there, it'll tell you. So, for example, in the case of Rangers, it's
advances.
1 every 3 levels for both weapon and non-weapon proficiencies. So, at 3rd level, Carps will get a new weapon proficiency and a new non-weapon proficiency.
Right, 1 per level.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it's not.
Didn't think so.
No. I'm in the wrong place, clearly.
Okay, hang on. Let me have a look. So,
sorry, my head's full
for
of
a
off at the moment.
rogue, scanning all the way down here, non-weapon proficiencies, 1 every 4 levels for a rogue, and indeed the same goes for weapon proficiencies. So, the ranger actually gains them faster than the rogue does.
I'm
Given
surprised
which,
at that.
let's check your fighter class and see what that gets you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fighter is 1 every 3 levels. Your rogue will level up quicker, but you've got to get an extra level before you get a proficiency slot from it.
There's
So,
baby shark in chat. Make them stop.
That's my fault.
I do have, I mean, unfortunately, we would probably get a DMCA strike against us if I played it, but I do have the theme music from Sharknado.
You can play like 10 seconds of it.
But a small clip of Sharknado, maybe, for fair use, but it wouldn't be fair because we're not actually talking about Sharknado in any way.
No.
Unless I played a small clip of it while saying, by the way, this is a really cool film, you should all go and watch Sharknado, in which case it might qualify. I'm not sure. Either way, we're not going to do that.
Tornado incoming, unprecedented number of sharks swarming.
So, yeah, Knight. Meanwhile, I was
Yes.
going to ask you to make a roll on the alertness proficiency that I have added to
Now
your
just
character.
appeared on my character sheet.
Yes, that's the one.
I forgot to set up my dice, so I'm entirely relying on FG.
Oh, you're in trouble now then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may be setting up my dice in a minute.
May our gods go with you.
Oh, for Pete's sakes. It was a good effort.
Yeah.
It was a very good effort. You almost got there.
But
So close.
a miss is as good as a mile.
I take it you're only
So they
setting up
say.
alertnesses on each sheet
I'm
as you go.
I was going to go through and set them all up between sessions, and as with everything else that I should have prepared for this session, I didn't. So, yeah, I'll do them as it becomes relevant.
Now I've got reggae
Okay,
sharks.
so you cannot
Help.
see Rel in this room.
Huh, interesting.
Funnily enough, Ari, that is exactly what has been done by other people. There is a mini sorted out for carps that on the Discord that looks rather cool.
Yes.
If we didn't already have exceptionally cool character art for everybody, that would now be the token. But we do have exceptionally cool character art for everybody. Thank you for the exceptionally cool character art again. So, how long are you leaving Carps alone before the next person comes into the tavern?
I am calculating how long it will take for him to get through the crowd of sailors to the bar, get the barman's attention, order a drink, get about halfway down the drink. I've watched Carps drink.
So, probably only a couple of minutes then.
Yeah.
So probably about 5 minutes.
Because this is not like a modern club where you have to spend an hour waving money at the bartender and then they still ignore you, so you get your friends to buy you a drink instead. Or is that just me?
No, it's not.
No, not just you. Well, admittedly, I haven't set foot inside a club in something like 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a long while for me too.
I'm more likely to be the friend that people get to buy them drinks. Something about disturbingly meeting the eyes of the bartender.
You see, when I meet people's eyes, they run away.
Ah, I think they want me to go away. Right. So Nobwobble's setting Jitterbug on the back door, just in case.
Okay. Logic says the place probably has a back door.
I'll be amazed if it doesn't,
Yeah.
given it's got space behind it.
It does have space behind it, yeah.
Honestly, Knob walking into the tavern is going to look like two doors opening and then closing on their own.
I'm the invisible man.
When you're shorter than all the tables, yes, you are basically invisible.
Having played A Plague Tale Innocence, I debate that, because I remember the stealth section where you pay the little boy. Shorter than a single table there, still got caught and killed multiple times.
Sticks
This
is
is
shorter
true.
than everything else.
Yes, sticks are shorter than... Yeah?
Yeah, but tables have chairs in sticks. The flames on the side of my everything through, then that's going to make no.
Chair, 5 hit dice. Number appearing
how
1
many
to
AC?
8.
I reckon that all shares in sticks are mimics, and they're all nervous. So as
think
soon
you
as he
could be
walks
right.
past them, they all just go, shit.
You could be right. Okay, right. Meanwhile, AD&D.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm having a hard enough time concentrating as it is. Let's try and stay on the game at least a little bit.
Apologies. Okay, so yes, novel percentages bug out to the back, and I will ooze in through the door. Ideally, if I can do it in the wake of a big burly sailor.
Lucian, did you know that she was part ooze?
No.
I would completely lose the hoodie, by the way, but it's cold in here.
You're fine.
I have a dressing gown on.
So, you've had the description of
I know, it's just cold
the tavern. If you weren't listening when I gave it tonight, then that's your problem.
I was
Good.
I even remember it, sort of. Good night,
The
Nick.
only difference now is that there's also a corpse at the bar.
Yes, there's a big carp at the bar.
He's leaning against the bar with a leather tankard in one hand and casting his gaze around the tavern. Not as surreptitiously as you would have liked.
Dang it.
And here comes the leather tankard.
Here comes the leather tankard.
Uh-huh.
That's a tiny tankard.
Yeah, I know.
It's for small beer.
Oh.
For small beer. Ah, beer made by brownies.
It's more for hanging off the belt at LARP events
Yeah.
without getting too much in the way.
Have you seen the teacups? Like equivalent teacups.
I was just told that it's for light beer.
Small beer, of course, is what most people drank instead of water in the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, the water wasn't safe.
It was safer to drink the thing that had alcohol in it, because that acted like a purifier.
I mean,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
when I've been on like medieval festivals, what we have what we drank from is like clay cups.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
So basically, the way we just did it was we tied like a leather strap around like the bottom of the clay cup, and then like just walked around with it,
Oh,
letting it drip over.
you can get LARPA teacup sets, which is a cup and saucer. Cup inverted on the saucer, and then just a pair of leather straps that then clip to your belt.
Yep.
And it's designed to look terribly medieval, except you've got your best Wedgwood. So you can LARP
Is
in
that-
style.
Is that when you're LARPing Castle Falkenstein?
Exactly,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Now there, you see. Oh, right.
So there we go. If I don't think they actually watch any of our non RTG streams, but if any of the RTG guys are watching this, we want Castle Larpenstein and we want it now.
Yes. You know that there is an annual Gen Con Castle Falkenstein LARP,
Cool.
Cool.
because I think Joe Gray either runs it or plays in it. But of course, nothing happened this year. in
So
Sector
right
30.
at the moment, you're standing in a doorway.
I'm not standing in the doorway, I'm going through the doorway.
Well, you are, because it
No,
auto
no,
paused
shut
at
up,
that
there was
point.
an
You've got to
ad break.
press space again to move to start moving.
I thought there was an ad break because I went between through the door and
Oh yeah, that's entirely possible.
yes.
It's not Doctor Who though, so it won't be the end of the episode, and slightly different when we come back.
Yes, a different extra walks out through the same door as me. We can see right down your lug, old cat.
That could be worse.
Actually, yes, it could be
Yeah,
worse.
I mean, this is a cat.
True. But I don't think he could hit his bum on your camera.
I'm sure he'd be willing to try.
If
Right.
the cat could have heard
So-
that, the response would have been challenge accepted.
Yeah. So
What
what are
am I
you
rolling
doing?
for alertness, Fish?
You're looking around straight away, are you?
That's not suspicious behavior.
It's not even slightly.
Oh,
Okay, so let's just.
A real sailor would walk in, go right up to the bar, and start drinking. I don't know, like.
I'm not
And-
pretending to be a sailor.
In your case, this is going to need a modifier of -5. So let me put -5 in there.
A skill.
And there we go. You now have alertness that you can roll.
A skill, my kingdom.
For those not familiar with AD&D 2nd Edition, non-weapon proficiencies that you don't have, if the GM allows you to roll it, are rolled against half of your stat. So the reason they have different modifiers is because I've just taken off half of the stat to provide the result.
Take 2 stats into the shower. I'm rolling it. So, time to trot out the rainbow dice.
No, one of the players would have to be a doppelganger.
Yeah, but a group of mimics would still eat a doppelganger. But, I
just have this image now of a doppelganger family. You know, okay, whose turn is it to walk the mimic?
No. A doppelganger family adopts a mimic from the next town. Into the family. They only realise when one of the children's caught eating next door's cat.
I'm curious, does this tavern, as crappy and shoddy as it is on the inside and outside, does it have windows?
No.
Nope.
No,
They're all boarded up.
On the inside, there are holes where they never had glass in, but they were windows. On the outside, they're all boarded up. There were windows on the upstairs. The higher level floors have windows, some of which are boarded up, some of which aren't. But on the ground floor, they're all boarded up.
That's purely so people can be thrown out of them while a clanky piano plays, isn't it? It's all sugar glass.
I'm considering climbing up to the second story and having Jitterbug check into the windows before I climb in from the top and just come down the stairs like I belonged here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do that. Do you want to climb up the front or go round and climb up at the back?
Oh, definitely the back, because I don't want people watching me climb.
I got a 3 on my alertness.
Okay. In one corner, in a rowdy group of people, is a cloaked and hooded figure, somewhat less rowdy than the others, doing just enough to not look out of place in this group.
I have no idea what that looks like.
But clearly trying to remain inconspicuous. And you just catch a glimpse under the hood of Rel's recognisable features. As you catch the glimpse, he is looking straight at you. There's a moment of recognition, and then one of his companions shifts sideways slightly and blocks your view of him again.
Okay, I am going to step back out of the door. And hope that Carps saw me come in.
That's a question. Did I see him?
Cops, do you want to make another alertness check?
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Hey!
Wow.
Okay, well, that one you made.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, one's not a failure, is it? I saw the
No.
one and thought, oh my god, I've
No,
just
you've
botched
got to
it.
roll low, so that's actually
Yes.
a success. It's not a critical, though, because in this system, critical
It's gotta
is
be
to
the-
roll exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
So, in your case, an 8 would be a critical for this roll. But yeah, you saw Shrine come in, look around, obviously register something, and step back out of the door again.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Nobwobble. Going around the back of the building, you look up and see that the windows here are actually in better condition in the front. Still no glass in any of them. But the shutters look less damaged than on the ones at the front. They're not perfect and intact, but none of these have actually been boarded over yet.
Oh,
And
excellent.
most of the shutters look like they might actually open and close without falling off. There are... Let me see if it actually tells me. Right, no it doesn't. So I'm going to say that there are 3 floors.
Ooh.
So you've got a choice. You can go up 1 floor and find a way in, or you can try 2 floors and find a way in. But all of the shutters are closed, so you will have to open the shutter wherever you go.
What's the fall damage again?
Fall damage is a d6 per 10 feet, so basically if you climb to the first floor in English terms, second floor story in US terms, that'll be a d6 damage if you go up.
That'll be my death. So I'll just stick with the 1 attempt at my death.
Just the 1 attempt at your death. Okay.
It's 1 near-death experience.
You do have climb walls, so
I do.
you have climb walls by, according to this, at 50%. So right. So with
that's a failure.
yeah, failure straight off. I'm not going to be mean about that. I am just going to say that you aim yourself at a window. You start trying to climb, and the moment that you put any weight on the handhold that you've found, it just comes away from the wall, and you're standing there holding a small piece of wood from one of the boards.
You now have to help Daniel Craig.
And we'll jump back inside and see what Carps is doing at this point.
Free knuckle duster.
I want to see if I can take a look at where Shrine was glancing when she decided to turn around and leave immediately.
Okay, yeah, you could see which corner she was looking at, so you can peer over into that direction. And I'm going to say, make me another alertness check, or whatever it's called. Yeah, it was alertness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's actually the wrong proficiency, but it'll do.
Hey.
That's more like it. Okay, knowing where you're looking and paying your attention to that area specifically, it takes you about a minute, but then you catch sight of Rel's hooded face. As I said, in a crowd of people, of revelers in the corner. They're all sort of drinking and laughing and playing dice, and he's not making a lot of noise. He's not actually playing dice, but he is conversing with the people around him and being a part of the group, so as not to stand out. But he's trying not to attract attention.
Okay. Do I recognise any of those that are with him?
You do not. They look like standard fare for this area. You would say that they were all sailors, but they're not people that you've met before.
Okay. In which case, we're here to see if he was meeting someone. He's met someone. Has he clocked me?
That's a very good question. Let's find out.
Am I the only one who can now division in this tavern that you've got a load of sailors singing safety dance? It's just got that kind of vibe. Yeah.
You don't know for certain whether he has seen you or not, but you are kind of out in the open, and when you see him, while he is, as I say, he's talking to the people around him and drinking and trying to fit in a quiet way, but you also can see that he is looking around the room the whole time while he's doing it, so there's a good chance he has seen you.
Okay, in which case, I suppose we need a quick regroup and to formulate the next steps. Down the ale and head out.
Okay.
So you're not going to waste my copper.
Random encounter chance.
Oh God, the ghost
Okay,
dice.
you get out without a random bar brawl starting in your face.
Handy.
Right, so Shrine, you step back outside. What are you doing when you get there? Obviously, the rest of the party are still lurking around in the shadows out here, apart from Knobwobble, who seems to have disappeared.
I am going to ghost around to the back door just in case the guy decides to leave without wanting to.
Okay, you get round to the back to find Knobwobble standing there staring at a small piece of wood in their hand.
What are you doing?
Trying to. Well, I was trying to climb to get inside, but the walls. Well, there's more floors up there and things to do.
Yes, but he's on the ground floor.
And I'm also back here. If he was coming out.
Go away.
You go away. I was here first.
That here. Fit it back into the trellis or whatever it is.
No, it's just it's a board over one of the windows on the ground floor.
Oh, okay.
It's just, instead of it supporting his weight, no, the whole board didn't come off. Just a piece of it snapped clear because it's just not very good quality wood.
Sorry.
Fine. I'll go back out front. Jitterbug, you hang out and follow anyone that comes running out.
So, Carps,
Yes.
you down your drink and head back out. Step out into the junction there opposite the ship's prow to see no sign of Shrine. Meanwhile, the others who are here, i.e. Lucian and Jeddah, and Stephanie, rather. So what you have seen, you've seen Carps go in. Then a little while later, you've seen Shrine go in. And almost immediately after Shrine went in, Knobwobble went round the back. Then Shrine came back out again. Then Shrine went round the back. And now Carps has come back out again. And the two of you are standing inconspicuously in the shadow somewhere with no idea what is going on. Are you going to continue to stand and watch them? Or does one of you want to actually take some kind of proactive action at this point?
I look around to see if there's anything else to do.
You're in a major metropolitan area. There's loads of things to do. You've just got to go and find them. There's a tavern there. There's an inn over there. Unfortunately, most of the shops and things in this area are currently closed because it's.
Have we agreed
dark.
on finding an inn so far? Or are we going to go back to the Adventures Inn? Because we could technically, temporarily locate at 268.
I mean, inn-wise, you're paid up at the Safe Haven Inn. You've already got accommodation there.
Okay. Wait. Ooh.
That's a good point. Happy birthday, Mazza.
Happy early birthday, Nessa.
Happy late birthday, technically. It was a couple of days ago.
Oh, was it this week? Oh, happy late birthday.
Yep.
Oh, no.
He's grown up. He's not just producing tea. He's producing tea and coffee now.
I
Yay.
see. Yeah.
Catering to varied tastes.
Yep.
Growing as a
Yes,
person. I
he's
love it.
learning.
I wonder what tea and coffee would taste like together.
Pretty awful.
It has a name. It was very popular in the Georgian era.
Really?
I'm still sticking with pretty awful, though.
However,
It was not a
yeah.
deliberate thing that I've tried it. I just forgot there was coffee in the bottom of the mug when I made a cup of tea. It's one of those occasions where I actually had a teapot rather than making an individual cup, and I forgot there was cold coffee still in the bottom of the mug and poured tea into it. It's fairly. Maybe with warm coffee it works better.
Oh.
Is there a common room in the inn? I can't remember the name
The inn
of it.
across the road, the ship's prow.
Yeah, the
I
ship's prow.
believe there is. Let me just.
And is it open for the public, so to say?
Okay, so there is a common room in the ship's prow. You would not know, not being from around here or having been into that inn before, but I will tell you, out of character, that they don't sell food or drink in the ship's prow. So while there is a common room, it is literally just a place for people to sort of meet up and chat. There's no bar or anything in there.
I think I'm gonna go to the common room to try to find out some info.
Okay, let me just roll to see whether there's anybody in there.
There's nobody inside.
Yeah, there is, in fact, one man sitting in the common room reading a book, which is not usual in Dock Ward, but not completely unheard of.
That sounds like a person I could be interested in talking to.
Are you going to talk to him?
Yes, especially because I like reading and writing.
So, greet him then.
Good evening. That book is mighty interesting. What is it about?
Oh, good evening. It is a history of Waterdeep. I always like to know about the places that I'm visiting. You are?
I am Stephanie Silvana, and I'm quite new to the city myself, and I'm actually quite interested in learning about the city myself.
It does have a fascinating history, you know. It really does have a fascinating history.
I've begun to realize, as I have been experiencing the many variations of the city so far.
Well, for example, beneath where we now stand, there was once a dwarf hold, many, many centuries ago. This Mount Waterdeep was riddled with tunnels and mines built by the dwarves, but they long since fell to some external menace, and now are part of that mighty dungeon known as Undermountain.
I like the fact that, like, an entire species basically humans rocked up and thought, you know what would be great? Let's build a city here.
That is very true. Does Stephanie know anything about Carp's and Shrine's previous adventure in Undermountain?
Have they told? I don't think they have mentioned it, have they? Or have you? Don't remember you mentioning.
Not in depth. I think it might have come up in conversation once or twice that we'd been down there, but not in any detail.
But no detail.
I don't think so either. So I feel like I should probably ask some more about it just to learn a little more about Undermountain.
Okay, yeah. So he will start regaling you with facts about Undermountain from the book that he's reading. You can see, because he's waving it in front of your face as he's talking about it, you can see that the book is a guide to Waterdeep, and it is written by, hang on a moment, let me just double check this name, which apparently I will not be checking in Acrobat Reader because Acrobat Reader is not responding. Don't be mean, Acrobat Reader. Right, let's do this the other way. I think that is correct.
Chronos says, Wolofam, get on.
Volothamp Gedan. It's an M at the end, not a D, but otherwise, yes, it is indeed written by Volothamp Gedan. Make me an intelligence check, Jeddah.
Oh God. Oh, it's the dice that's next to intelligence, right?
Yes, that will do it.
Okay. Do.
Oh, failure by 2.
And my intelligence is high.
The name rings a vague bell, but you can't quite place it. Maybe you've seen one of his books somewhere before. Who knows? Right, let's jump back to Cops at this point. So
He's
you've come
having-
outside.
oh my
There's
God.
no sign of
You just
Shrine.
know-
That's the one.
You just know that Unzia spiritually is off somewhere,
Looking-
smacking his head on the desk.
Shit. Looking around, you also can't see Stephanie or Knobwobble, but you can still see Lucian standing, trying to be inconspicuous and being blindingly noticeable.
Lucian, where did they go?
I was supposed to be
in
watching.
there watching Shard's back. Watching Shrine's back. Shrine went in, turned around and walked out again. How can I watch her back when she buggers off without telling me where she's gone?
I'm escorting what's his face? I'm escorting Knobwobble back round because I don't trust him.
Where's Stephanie?
On his own. I'll take him back round to the front.
Somewhere in not this direction.
Oh, gods help us! You are useless.
1, 2, 3.
I'm just doing what I was told.
About this point, Knobwobble and Shrine will reappear from round the back of the building.
We've lost Stephanie.
Where's Stephanie?
That's what I would like to know.
Lucian, have you eaten Stephanie?
I'll have you know that cannibalism is highly frowned upon. They got bored and decided to go and find entertainment.
Where?
Somewhere not over here.
But you were with them, so presumably you saw them leave.
No, I was just, looking at the building.
But why didn't you look where they went?
More to the point, I'm sure that they're safe and we can find them later. Why did you turn around and leave? I was supposed to be in there watching you back.
Bel's in there. A group of people to the left of the door. They're all having a good time. He's having less of a good time, but he's still clearly with them.
Yeah, I
And
saw.
he clocked me.
So?
Yeah, when your eyes meet across a crowded room and you're initially supposed to be...
Look, I don't want you to date the guy. You're not supposed to be there to romance him and get that whole lover's look thing
You
going.
realise I threatened to cut his toes off.
Some people go for that.
That's not how I want to start a romance. That's not how romantic feelings start. Not last I
He has a
checked.
fair point there. There are a lot of tales, of captured princesses
You
falling.
do not get to say anything because you put blinders on and didn't even watch where Stephanie's gone. God,
You muted
no.
Shard.
Yeah. Knobwobble's apparently been had silence cast on him.
Don't get mad at Lucian. Lucian was apparently doing his job this time. He was watching the front of the inn. He was not told to watch Stephanie.
I thought it was implied.
He has a hard time with implication.
Clearly we have to be explicit in instructions.
I can be explicit.
I don't want to know about the gaze with the guy across the room, okay? Who's still in there while we're out here? That we're supposed to be talking to.
Yeah, he's with a group of people. If I did I recognise any of them as being people who were either at the meet outside the shop?
No, you
They're just
didn't.
random gango people.
They just look like sailors. Random tavern crowd.
I was just thinking he's teamed up with the hen party, basically, hasn't he? They're out drinking.
It's that kind of look, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything out of him tonight. But I don't think he noticed you. He noticed me.
I wouldn't be so sure. He was looking around. Possibly seeing you got him spooked, but I wouldn't guarantee that he didn't see me.
It's a 50-50 on the throttling front, I have to say.
Hey, Carps, do you have a spare sailor cap that I could borrow? I'll just walk in there and check it out. He won't notice me. There's too many people. I'm small.
If you wear one of his caps, is that not going to come down to about there?
That would make me even more inconspicuous.
I love the idea that this is your idea of a disguise. It's okay, I'll put a cap on and everyone will think I'm a sailor.
Exactly.
I'll wear glasses. Everyone will think I'm a reporter.
I wear a wig.
that
Everyone
works
thinks I'm an old
apparently.
man.
So
You weren't watching Howl's Moving Castle the other day, were you?
I was actually watching House Moving
The
Castle.
cloak with the beard attachment.
Best disguise ever.
I can just see that.
I didn't come up with this disguise myself. I had to get it from somewhere.
Please state
Okay,
speed
that's-
and
To
cost.
answer your question, no bubble, not on me. No, I tend not to wear caps unless it's really cold or pouring down with rain,
Fair enough.
which it isn't.
Well, my old bones say it's going to rain later tonight.
I didn't realise you were into necromancy.
Who's into necromancy? Do I need to smite them?
I think she was making a joke. I was talking about my knees.
I'm going to cast a glance around the area. If I were a innocent babe in the woods type,
Mhm.
with the common sense slightly north of Lucian, but that leaves a lot of headroom before hitting reasonable, where might I go for a drink to look for fun that isn't the thirsty sailor?
Are you
Can
just
Trina,
Are you just
can Trina actually put herself into that mindset properly? Can she?
That is a good question. I would like you to fail an intelligence check, please.
Okay. Okie dokie.
I feel like I should be offended, but
What? No, I should be offended. Look, I'm just a tiny bit aloof. That doesn't mean I have to.
Intelligence or
do
common
shit.
sense?
Intelligence.
or will?
I'm going to go with intelligence.
It's easier for me to fail a will check.
Yes, I know it is.
But you also have to fail the intelligence check.
Well, that's a 16 and my intelligence is 13.
So you have successfully failed an intelligence check. Looking around, it's not a phrase you'll hear often.
Yep.
Looking around, you realise that there is a well-lit, shiny, clean inn directly opposite. You know that they don't have a bar and they don't serve anything, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, looking around for where would I go if I were, you go, there. And then a moment later, your brain says, they don't have a bar, why would I go there? And the other half of your brain says, because I don't know they don't have a bar. And you realise that that's possibly where they've gone.
All I'm thinking at the moment is shiny.
It's not really shiny, but it is well lit and clean.
I'm not a fish. I'm not attracted to shiny things.
You know, there are some very smart birds that are attracted to shiny things.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
They're still stupider than humans, though.
Whoa.
Are you sure? I've met some pretty stupid humans.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
I've got some COVIDs I would back against some humans. Okay. So, yes, I am
I
going
assume you
to...
meant Corvids there rather than Covids.
Yeah, sorry.
Because so far, backing COVID against humans seems like a good plan. It's kicking our asses.
This is absolutely true. That's a coincidence.
Oh, that is a good point. I think the roleplay in this session definitely should have earned you a brownie point. Yes. Let's.
Yeah, more brownie points.
If I can remember where I'm storing the brownie points, because I know I've.
Wait, all we have to do is make him laugh?
I saw a reference to brownie points
all
in
we
the
have to do,
investigator.
Yeah, it is indeed in the investigator bit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that follow.
Oh, yes, thank you for the follow, Syrian. Or Samayan, in fact.
Welcome in, Sir Ryan, the footwear loose.
We really need to change that alert at some point for something
Yes.
less, more subtle.
Something we could hear would be cool, but we're not listening to the stream, so no.
I can hear it, yeah. And I'm assuming, therefore, that the stream can hear it.
Okay, given that that's where I've been staying, I'm going to casually wander in and just have a quick poke around and see if I can see, I don't know.
I think perhaps for the sake of safety and not being stood out like a sore thumb in the middle of the street, we should all go.
Yeah.
Everyone follow Shrene, please.
Because while they don't do alcohol, am I right in remembering that they actually do sort of the equivalent of tea?
They do water.
Yeah,
But that
and
is for
it's
people who are actually staying there, and you're not
Yeah.
actually staying there. So
Do they sell muddy water?
no, they sell clean water, lightly minted.
I am willing to pay for clean, lightly minted water, while trying to decide whether or not to recommend this to my colleagues here, who are possibly in need of a place to stay once our short-term accommodation expires.
Mhm.
And I'm actually saying that to the person at the counter.
I swear Shrine must be fucking for a second career as a grifter.
It's a second career.
Okay, so
If I did that. But
I mean, you don't want to find out if Stephanie's in first or something like that. No.
no.
You just
No,
want to
I
go straight to the
want a
counter.
drink.
Just straight to the counter for a drink.
Shrine would like a drink.
because you know the inn,
Yeah.
you are in a position to be able to easily find the innkeeper, Jamboat. Are you going to look for Stephanie, or are you going to look for Jamboat?
I'm going to look for Jamboat.
Right. So, you can very easily find him. He's bustling about doing innkeepery type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you find him in the kitchen area, where he is crushing mint leaves in with a mortar and pestle. Stood in the
Okay.
middle of the floor is a large barrel, largish barrel. Yeah, not one of the really huge ones,
Yeah.
but goodly sized.
Okay, so there probably isn't a person in there.
Not necessarily a small person. There could be a gnome in there.
Don't even joke.
I might be related.
I thought all
Mistress
humans were
Shrini.
related. I don't know.
Are you
Sort of one big family.
needing a room again?
Possibly. I've got some friends in town, and currently we're staying at somewhere in the Adventurers Quarter, but apparently we can only stay there for a week. So I'm trying to sort of scope out somewhere nice for them to stay. And this, of course, rather nice place.
It's
But
I'm glad you enjoyed your stay last time.
did, yes. Just wanted to kind of convince them. I was just wondering if we could get if I could pay you for some tankards of the mint water, because just while I'm having a chat and arranging, giving them a taste of the ambience.
Make me a charisma check.
Okay, it's one of the things that she can do. Oh God, maybe not. Charisma 13.
It's above evens. Yeah.
It is, yeah. She definitely punches above her weight on charisma. That's an 8.
Okay.
And continues to punch above her weight on charisma.
Don't you fuss about payment. If you're looking at bringing people to my inn, you can have all the water you like. He reaches into a cupboard and pulls out some crockery, actual earthenware,
Wow, good stuff.
cups rather than the leather that you get across the road. You don't want this. This hasn't been minted yet. Heads across to a pair of large cupboard doors on the side wall of the kitchen. Pulling them open reveals a space behind where there are 2 barrels. He takes the lid off one of the barrels and scoops out some... How many did you need?
Okay, hang on a minute. Stephanie, Knobble, Carps, Lucian, me. 5?
All right.
You forgot. Jitterbug.
What about? I'm sorry.
And a dish and a saucer.
I mean, Answer might be like semi just watching over Lucian right now. But
No, I've assumed that Anja has sudden, urgent, busy work that he has to go and do somewhere else.
Yes, sorry, I was completely ignoring on
He's had to head back to speak with his church.
I was just following what Kron said earlier.
So he's headed off. He spoke with representatives of the church while he was at the Zorstar, and they reminded him of something that he needs to take care of. So after the business with the bear, he decided that would be a good time to do that, not realizing that you were actually going to head back out again. So he'd already gone back to deal with the other glyph scribes by the time you decided that, you were going to go and do something now.
Yes.
Or indeed, he stayed at the Zorstar and sent Lucian back with the info, which also makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So there you go. He is dealing with something with his people, but he never came back.
He's got his people talking to our people. Instead of, because only little
Great, now
people...
Answer is sounding like a fixer.
Yes. Onzer is a fixer.
Right, so Jumboat will come up with a tray.
Thank you.
5 cups of minted water.
Mm-hmm.
And a small saucer. He doesn't actually put any water in the saucer because you didn't ask him to, and he wasn't sure what you wanted the saucer for.
Yeah. Well, if not Bobble wants to give any to that thing, then
You respect it about. You respect it about.
I'm still having a hard time understanding what this minted water is. I mean, I know that we can mint coins, but how do you mint water? It's not a solid. Is it iced water that's been minted?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you can
Just
head to the common room where you will find Stephanie in conversation with a man with a book who is telling her all about Undermountain. Some of what he's saying is even right.
Okay, I'm going to sit them down at a table. What would be an appropriate, I'm not paying, but what would be an appropriate tip, do you think?
What would be an appropriate tip?
Yeah.
A silver piece?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to give him some life lessons.
No, I will pass back John Merds a silver piece, and thanks.
Don't get on the wrong side of justice.
And thanks for giving us somewhere to lurk. Frankly, that's not full of people who are higher level than us. And then, unfortunately, Volo sat across the room.
No, it's not. It's not Volo sat across the room. It's just someone reading Volo's book.
It's someone. Yes, I know. No, if it was Volo sat across the room, then that would be a real ish. And then I am going to, fangirl.
Oh, okay.
We'd just be really happy that Onzu wasn't there. Otherwise, he would just be there, just utter fanboy.
If you want Volo actually sat across the room, you need Dungeon of the Mad Mage for edition, where Volo is one of the people who can be used as a quest giver at the beginning of the scenario.
Okay.
I know this purely because the party that I'm playing that with got a quest from Volo at the beginning of the scenario, so it's a bit of a clue.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I've just been trying to work out what the beeping is. It's bloody Discord. Right. Yes, I am going to set everybody up at the table, and then I will stroll over, tap Stephanie on the shoulder. Stephanie, why are you bothering this nice man?
Oh, he's talking straight to me now.
It's no bother. I was just chatting with this lovely young lady about Undermountain. You are?
Yes. Shrine Ort. Recently returned from Undermountain, actually. What can I, can I help
Really?
you with? Yes.
Stephanie,
you must tell us what it was like.
Dark, unpleasant, various things attempting to eat us, including sharks and a dragon.
Did you see any of the Dwarven ruins?
Dwarven ruins? No, I don't believe so. Actually, did we?
No, the area you were in wasn't Dwarven in construction.
No, we saw human ruins, ruined temple, giant centipedes.
Giant centipedes?
Yes, giant centipede. Well, we decided it was a centipede. It was seen out of the first floor window of the house we were sleeping in.
You were in a house in Undermountain, but surely
Yes.
Undermountain is a dwarf hold, or was a dwarf hold, and yet you
Ah,
weren't in the dwarf hold part, so it's a cave. How was there a house in a cave?
well, you see, if the thing is, if you have a big enough cave, then you can build a house in it. And if you have a big enough cave, then you can build lots of houses. You can even call it a town if you really want to.
A town in a
Mm,
cave
yes.
underwater deep.
Yes.
You weren't in Skullport, were you?
Only briefly. We passed through there. No, this was somewhere else entirely.
So there is more than one town in Skullport, in
Yes. I mean,
the caverns beneath
it's
Waterdeep.
less a town and more a ruin, but that's what happens when large chunks of the roof fall on you, which is why logically most people build under the sky, not on stone.
You know, that
Actually,
makes perfect
underground
sense.
caverns don't tend to fall down in earthquakes. They only fall down when people explode them.
This one had fallen down. Trust
Well, it's
me.
probably because you were down there messing with things.
No, it had fallen down quite some time earlier.
Probably because somebody else has messed with him.
I'm sure the lady wasn't messing with things, good sir, and you are?
I'm Nabobble.
A pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Noble.
This is Jitterbug.
And hello, Jitterbug.
You forgot to mention the gargoyles.
Oh yes, well, there were 3 gargoyles, or were there only 2? There were 3, weren't there? Yes, there were 3 gargoyles. The carrion crawler was barely worth mentioning. Sorry, Lucian.
I
And
wasn't going to mention that, no.
well, I wouldn't go out of my way to mention the carrion crawler that we brutally slaughtered.
Gargoyles? You are clearly brave and experienced adventurers. You've seen so much.
Well,
I didn't think I'd get to
So
talk
much
to
I
anyone
didn't
like
know.
you until I visited maybe the Yawning Portal or one of those places. But this is amazing.
oh, the yawning portal is where all the big names go, but you really do want to keep it realistic.
Undermountain
Really
is
just say she was
realistic.
keeping it real.
Just gonna
Yeah,
lower your
exactly.
hopes. Just...
Well, I was just bringing some friends past to show them the inn, but does the inn serve food?
It does. It doesn't serve a lot of food. You can
Pretzel
get...
bites? Does it sell pretzel bites?
No, it does not. You can get smoked firefin, strong cheese, and bread.
I heard
and
cheese.
this time of year, actually, you can get a hot fish head soup as well, because
I
it's
tell you what.
sort of winter time.
Are you staying here, sir?
I am, yes. It is my pleasure to be staying in this fine establishment for at least a
Yes,
part of my
and,
visit to this equally fine city.
And your name is?
I've forgotten it.
Sawn Tradick. I got it written down here, but I couldn't remember it. Yeah.
Stephanie interrupts. Normally, you introduce yourself first before you ask for somebody else's name.
Well, I already had. I'd
When?
already told him my name.
When?
When I walked over and said hello.
when she came
He
over
asked.
and
Oh, she
started
did.
talking,
Yeah.
Tradick
completely-
asked her for her name. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't we get some dinner? And you can pick my brains. And my 2 friends there, the seafaring gentleman and the heroic-looking one, they were with me down there. And I have no doubt that they have no end of tales to tell you. So you can gear up and sort of wet your palate before you approach the yawning portal.
Oh, this is marvellous. This is better than I could ever possibly have hoped for.
Excellent.
So I think we will spin on a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm going to let him buy us dinner, basically.
But yes, you can have dinner with this rather over-enthusiastic apparent tourist to Waterdeep.
Yep.
He will occasionally refer to something that he has read previously in Volo's guide, flicking through and finding a page and asking you about it. Sometimes it's nonsense, sometimes it's accurate, sometimes you don't know one way or another.
I'm quite happy to extrapolate from previous experience if necessary.
But all the time that you're doing this, nobody is watching the Thirsty Sailor.
Except the girl by Jitterbug.
No, Jitterbug.
Jitterbug's with us.
Of course she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've kind of given up on Vel. I don't know why I've given up on Vel, but I've kind of given up on Vel.
You've kind of given up on Vel.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really bad idea.
Okay. So you can have dinner. I'm assuming then, if you've given up on Vel, that basically you're going to have dinner here at the ship's and then retire back to the safe haven, ready to go off and get a decent, halfway decent night's sleep, and head off and see the sage Gerard.
What I have done is established a level of paranoia in Rel, because I've just wandered in casually, looked at him and walked off.
Yeah, you have done
and
that.
If that's not enough to get him at least slightly nervous. It's not quite walking up and going...
I know not much has happened here today, but I think that's not an unreasonable place to call it a night. We got some good roleplay in. Your investigation of Rel has not, unfortunately, provided you with anything, but hopefully next time we can go and see Gerard, and maybe he will be more useful to you.
Yeah, sorry about the Rel thing, guys.
It was an avenue to investigate. We investigated it. We didn't get anywhere with it. We tried.
No.
I met a nice person, and I learned about my undernouns, and I am very happy about this.
We had fun,
Dinner.
and we learned that Lucian can't busk worth crap.
That's not too surprising.
Usually surprising, no.
And in the Sailor's Tavern, we all learned the safety dance.
Yes.
Everybody.
So, we're going to call it a night there. I apologise for it not being a particularly long session, or a session in which very much was achieved, but I think it was quite fun. I enjoyed the roleplay on this. Next week, what have we got next week?
Next week is Crimson Skies.
Yes, yep. Coming up next week, Night Bites is running Crimson Skies. And as I mentioned at the start of this, we do other things than just tabletop gaming as well. Various members of Hint are streamers in their own right. So, going around the virtual table, Night, what have you got on this week, stream-wise?
Both Tuesday and Thursday, I'll be back behind the drum kit playing to viewer requests of a DMCA free nature. And then Friday, I'll be back in Forza.
Thank you, Lupa. Right, you don't stream, do you, Jeddah?
Actually, I do.
But you do? Oh, okay.
I streamed for the first time today in like 1.5 years.
Baby streamer.
So very peculiar time to ask me.
So you're planning on streaming again, or is it going to be another 1.5 years before the next one?
I plan on streaming more often. Not as often as I used. I used to do it like weekly, but now I try to do it like on the weekends maybe. I'm not completely figured out. I mainly did it today because I was participating in a tournament for a game called League Blaze, and then it's sort of like I thought I might as well stream it because it's been so long. It was really nice. A lot of my friends turned up, and it was really nice to see my friends again.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Nice.
I have had contact with them other times. It's very nice to see them that way.
Shard, have you got any streams planned this week? Shard,
oh,
hello.
Me, Shard. That's my name, right?
That's your name, yeah.
No. Well, maybe. I'm not planning anything because I keep getting pulled into other projects and stuff. I wouldn't know why. Anyway,
pesky real life and family stuff, huh?
I know, right? Plus holidays.
It just gets in the way. So they should do away with holidays. Those are just a pain.
Yeah, we don't need them.
Yeah. Robinson, which pointless mobile game are you going to be throwing money at this week?
I'm trying to wean myself off mobile games actually because
Oh,
they don't particularly make good stream content because you run out of things to do
Yeah.
really quickly.
What?
Are you going to be playing more Planetfall then?
So yeah, Planetfall. I'm not sure what. I
Excellent.
don't want it to overlap with too many people's schedules, so I'm still working on what days to do it. But it'll most likely be Wednesday and Saturday. And I'm looking into trying to recover my EA account. I'm going to try again, but this time on phone support rather than chat support. To see if I can get my old Spore account back from 12 years ago. And just, go for the nostalgia of creations that I made when I was 13 and 14.
Wouldn't it be easier just to buy a new copy?
But then I won't have all my old creations I made as a kid.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
And Drat, you'll presumably be streaming tomorrow.
Tomorrow I am streaming what I suspect will be the last part of Whispers of the Machine.
And then I have a
Normally
sneaking...
my Thursday stream, however, on
Yeah, I have a
Thursday...
sneaking suspicion you may be doing something special on Thursday. I'm
on
not sure what that
Thursday,
could be.
I hope, fingers crossed and tech allowing, to have installed all 80 gigs of Cyberpunk 2077 and streaming that on my Just Cup channel. I should be able to. I generally beat medium specs, but the only thing that might let it down is my CPU, so I will be probably popping up for a couple of 5-minute test streams just to make sure that it doesn't blow my machine up. But, it's winter, so I've got a certain amount of headroom there. Looks gorgeous. I am very much looking forward to it, and fingers crossed it will be streaming and demonstrating what you can get at the lower end of what machines they reckon you need for it.
I'm really hoping that is streamable for you because I'm looking forward to seeing the game. And I can think of nobody I would rather see stream it.
Yes, I will be playing as the options are Corporate, Street Rat, or Nomad, and my first playthrough is going to be a Corpo.
Of course it would.
I'm going to go for the nice suit.
So, all of these fine people are well worth a follow if you're not already following them. Check out their
That's
streams.
not true.
Highly entertaining. Well, I'm guessing that Jeddah is highly entertaining and well worth a follow. I've not yet seen him stream, but I'm sure he is. I have faith in you.
Yeah.
If you like what we do here, you can get involved with by joining our Discord, and indeed by donating money to the channel. We are not pay to play in any way, shape, or form. We do not charge for this, but also there are certain expenses involved in buying and running these games, and anything that you do want to donate will help to keep things going and keep the channel going.
I could concur on this. I play this absolutely freely. I probably should donate at some point, but it is free for anybody else to join.
Yeah.
There's no requirement to. But anything
None
that
at
is
all, no.
donated is gratefully received.
And on our Discord, you can chat with us. You can talk to us about gaming in any way, shape, or form. The Discord is not specifically about tabletop role-playing games. It's not the Hint Plays Tabletop Discord. It is the Hobby Gamers International Discord. All forms of gaming are on the table there. And in fact, even a few extraneous activities around it. Like we've got a book club and a media club and things like
And it's a
that.
pretty wonderful community.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you're
most
looking
of
for a
them
new
are far
place
more
to hang
lovely.
out, looking for a new place to hang out online, then drop by the Discord and say hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to say before we wind up?
Thank you for putting us back into Slaughterdeep and giving us a chance to get back into character properly.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next one. Which,
Okay.
God, will be the new year.
We'll be in the new year, yes, indeed.
Mhm.
Hell yeah,
Really?
it'll be over.
God. Wait, will it? Wait, is it gonna?
No,
Wait, no, it's not gonna be in the new year. The next one is the 27th, right?
The 27th being straight
Wait.
after Christmas. I haven't yet scheduled anything in on it.
Immediately before Christmas, I believe we are using
On the
this
20th?
Sunday slot which would normally be a role-playing game, that Sunday instead is going to be effectively the Hint Christmas party.
Ooh, party.
So it's going to be a socially distanced, COVID-aware, very responsible party.
Yeah, bring your own
But
box.
we're probably going to play some board games or something, or maybe something like Murderous Pursuits.
Yep.
And
We have people eager to
and just
support
hang out.
each other.
That
spend
sounds like
some time in
something,
each other's
if I
company.
may, would be fun
So
to join.
yeah,
Yeah.
we will be
That's
at least some of us will be on stream, probably someone on this channel, and maybe some people on their own channels as well. And we will be in the voice channels on Discord, where people can join us and just hopefully have a good time and enjoy each other's company around the holidays. So
Will we have more announcements about it on Discord?
Yes.
we will indeed.
With things.
Right.
Okay, so thank you again for watching,
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.
and hopefully we will see you next week.